Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video, and I might look weird. I got a hat on, need to get a haircut. Glasses on, need to read a screen. I'm not trying to go incognito or anything, it looks weird. But anyway, we've got a bit of a different video today, and this is going to be a bit of a channel update, channel update's probably the best way to word it, I think. Yeah, we'll go with channel update. Now, we are, of course, in like this weird period with the strikes going on, and who knows when the hell they're going to end. There's like some days it's like, oh, there's a sign of life, and the next day, oh, we're going to be on this for 6 more months. So who knows what's going to happen there in regards to that. But of course, due to that, there's pretty much, it's very dry online. And, I don't necessarily count myself as like a news guy where I'm like, oh, just constantly talking about the news. I just like talking about stuff that I like talking about, which can involve news, can talk about stuff that's already come out, whatever it might be. But yeah, it's gonna be very weird for the next, whatever amount of time it is, with all this, like, just pretty much a desert coming up in regards to a lot of dry stuff. No, I'm not going to use a weird word, but like no proper news coming out just because of the strikes and stuff like that. Though it doesn't really bother me too much because I never really wanted to be that to be the main thing that I did. Now, it hasn't been a bit of a weird time lately because of all the strikes and stuff like that, which of course has then impacted, just general stuff that's coming out that we get to enjoy. It's almost very, COVID-esque to an extent, but not as impacting to society as a whole. And I did always say that when, back when like the Flash TV series was coming to an end, that there was going to be some new stuff coming to the channel. It was just about time and place. And I wanted to make sure that I'd set it up properly. And I've got things lined up that I actually wanted to do that weren't also reliant, for the most part at the very least, on outside stuff. So for example, with the strike, this stuff, or most of this stuff, doesn't rely on movies coming out or news coming out or whatever it might be, for the most part, as I need to stress, I guess, to an extent. But yeah, as I said, when the Flash was coming to an end, I did say that I had stuff lined up, but it was stuff that I wanted to hold out announcing because I wanted to touch it up a bit and not announce it until I was ready to actually start doing it properly on the channel. And also there was a side case of the fact that the Flash movie was coming out. I wanted to wait till that had come and gone. Obviously I wish it turned out for the better what happened with that film, but it is what it is. And then of course at the time, back then the strikes hadn't started and SDCC, or San Diego Comic-Con, looked like it was going to go on as per normal, as per usual. And of course that ended up not being the case because of the strike. So there was nothing really coming out of that for the most part. But this sort of, like, I guess when we talk about the strikes and the lack of news, sort of segues into the talk and the explanation on the new content and how it's going to be released and how you can, be a part of it as well throughout its release over the next amount of time, whatever that is. So I have 4 new series coming to the channel that are going to be, main, like, pillars or poles. What do you want to call them? Pillars, poles, whatever, for the channel, where they're going to be very like weekly things and stuff like that. And they're things that, with YouTube, and I've said this multiple times when people ask me like, oh, what are you going to do and stuff like that. My thing with YouTube has always been, I talk about stuff that I enjoy talking about, which is the case. You might have seen me do like 5 episodes talking about a show and I'll just stop talking about it because why would I talk about it if I'm not enjoying watching it? If I'm enjoying most of it and there's a crap episode, then you can, criticize it. But when like you're just not looking forward to clicking play and writing down notes and, like talking about it, like, why would I keep doing that? So the stuff that's lined up here, obviously opens the door to some criticism and, not just like, shilling, whichever way you want to put it. But also it's enjoyable to go through the process. It has its positives, has its negatives, but mostly positives and stuff like that. So these series here is stuff that I'm looking forward to doing.
Sorry, I couldn't skip this.
Shut the up, Siri. Now, with all this stuff, there is some membership stuff involved. Now, we will get to that at the end, just because I don't want to bore you at the beginning. I'd rather just talk about the series right now. But there is some membership stuff, which will be explained when we go through each specific series that's coming up, where member stuff gets involved. If you're already a member, then I guess look forward to this stuff, I guess. But if you, are interested in any of it, obviously feel free to listen and take it all in. So here is the first series, Arrowverse by the episode. Now, this is something I teased a while ago, but it was something that I definitely wanted to give some breathing room in regards to when it started, based off the end of the Arrowverse. But it's a long journey to get through this. And I have cut it down because of the length there. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. But as you can see here, I have possibly 2 videos a week. Now, I say possibly because some videos will have 2, some videos might only have 1. It really depends on the circumstances, logistics, timing of everything, just how things line up. But there will at least be a video a week, 100%. for Arrowverse by the episode, but there could potentially be 2. And the reason that there potentially could be 2 as well is because there's so much to get through. If we did 1 video a week, I think it'd take 10 years. I think it's 10 years. And that's if you would do like a lot of other stuff that we're cutting out. So actually, I think it's more. I think it's like maybe 13, but we're cutting out a lot of stuff just to make it a bit more precise and I guess a more organic journey through the Arrowverse, if you want to put it in regards to re-exploring it, which a lot of people have, maybe not re-explored it. Like, I love Arrow. I haven't watched anything from Arrow season 1 since like 2016, 17, whenever season 5 was airing. I think in the mid-season break of that, I rewatched some of the earlier seasons. I can't remember what happens in that pilot episode for the most part, so I'm excited to journey through that and also the earlier parts of The Flash and some of the other shows as well. But yeah, as you can see there, the general idea of it is that we watch and revisit an episode in order of its airing date each video. So it's not a random order, anything like that. It's actually in order. So we're going through the Arrowverse by the episode, and not every episode of the Arrowverse will be included. This due to length and just consistency as well. So I can tell you that all of Arrow, all of Flash will go through in order of the airing date. So by that, when we get to the airing dates and like Flash and Arrow airing at the same time, you'll watch episode 1 of Arrow season 3, episode 1 of Flash season 1, episode 2 of Arrow season 3, episode 2 of Flash season 1, etc., etc. And then when other shows, join the fold, that plays into it as well, but going by the airing date. But I can tell you with Legends, for example, we're not skipping out on Legends completely. We will use like seasons 1 to 3 of Legends, which I consider really good seasons. Supergirl won't be involved at all, except for maybe season 4. But if we don't do season 4, it'll just be the crossover episodes that involve Supergirl. And that goes also for the seasons of Legends that we don't include as well and stuff like that. So maybe it's just me being biased and my choices, but I also had to cut down the episodes if I wanted to make this series even sort of like feasible to do. Now, there will be some rotating guests throughout the series, and I am open to guest suggestions that you might be like, oh, like that they're familiar with the Arrowverse shows, they could join you for a conversation, that I might not have a clue who they are, whether it's maybe another YouTuber that I'm not familiar with, or maybe someone from TikTok who's a fan of the Arrowverse. So you're like, hey, I wouldn't mind them being there to talk about, the pilot for The Flash or the finale for Arrow season 2 or, Arrow season 1 or the first crossover episode between the two, whatever it might be. I'm very open to those suggestions, and, that you can chuck them my way, whether it's through the member sort of section or through Twitter or something like that. And one thing I am interested in doing is commentaries for special episodes. Not every episode, that would be too much, and I think it's just too much. That's just way too much. But commentaries for special episodes, so pilots, finales, crossovers, maybe mid-season finales, just general special episodes that you think are like warranted, or are big episodes where you sort of want to talk through it and stuff like that. So that's definitely be an option as well. There'll definitely be one for the first episode, the Arrow pilot. I'm definitely going to do a commentary for that and have a chat through that as well. And in regards to the supporter involvement, just submissions of your favorite and least favorite moments from selected episodes. They will be included in the following episode. So like after episode 1 of Arrowverse by the episode, you can leave your thoughts, like your favorite and least favorite moments, or just your overall thoughts on the episode, and we'll read a few out the beginning of episode 2 or the next episode of Arrowverse by the episode, whichever it is. And just to stress, if you are a bit confused and just want some finer details and any questions about specific series, do hit me up on Twitter. Twitter's probably the easiest place, or Instagram, whichever way you want to do it, or just leave a comment. But Twitter, Instagram is probably for like instant feedback. It's probably the best way to go. If you got any questions about these series that maybe I didn't divulge too deep into, I want to explain them right now. But the next series is one I'm pretty excited about, and this will actually be the first series, or the first new series that you will see on the channel, and that is DraftKings. So this will be one video per week easily, and pretty much the sum up of this series is that a selected group, including myself, so be me and 2 or 3 other people, will draft selections from a certain topic, with each person then picking who they think has the best draft overall, except themselves. So if it's me, 3 other people, I can pick who I think has the best draft out of the other 3, but I can't pick myself. Myself, I'm not a plural. I can't pick myself. So hopefully that makes sense there. If you're not familiar with the draft sequence, it's pretty much, you just sort of got to pick in order your favorites or your best options for the particular topic, and it goes through a rotation, and there will be like a random organizer that selects the order in which we go through. So it's not unfair. So I could get the first pick in the draft, or I could get the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft, depending on how the random selector goes about picking things. But as I sort of said before, a max of 4 people, including myself, and a minimum of 3, depending on length. just, you know, in regards to how many options there will be. It's probably like 3 to 4 options each, maybe 5. There's a lot of options to pick. But also don't want to make the videos too long as well. So I want to make them digestible for the most part. And some examples of possible drafts include best Arrowverse seasons, worst DC TV shows ever, best MCU movies, and then like maybe you go worst movies of all time, best movies of all time, favorite superhero costumes, whatever it is. There's endless possibilities for drafts. And I think that's why this is an interesting series that opens up a lot of potential doors. And supporter involvement for this series would just be you get to comment, or like there is comments from viewers and you'll get to comment obviously, and you get to sort of decide the overall winner based off the respective drafts in the video. So let's say we do the best, like let's say we do the best Arrowverse seasons. In the video, we might pick one person that's the winner, but a lot of the comments might go, hey, I think this other person has the best draft, and we'll sort of tally up the votes and we'll reveal the winner at the beginning of the next episode of DraftKings. So yeah, as I said, this will be the first series that goes out there, and it'll be the first public series, and also it'll be the first early access video for members, and we'll jump into the early access thing later in the video, but that will be available tomorrow from when this video goes out. So that's the first series that will be put out there, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's a fun series. The third series is one that once again has probably got some endless possibilities, and that is Franchise Wars. So Franchise Wars will have one video per week, and pretty much the general sum up of the series is that we watch every movie from a selected franchise in order, review that movie, or review each of them individually, and at the end of watching the franchise, we discuss or have a discussion around it and rank them from the best movie in the franchise to the worst movie. Now, with something like an example I put up on screen right there with Harry Potter, there's 8 movies there. There's a lot there. If you jump to like Jurassic Park or World, whichever way you want to work, the Jurassic franchise, we'll say there's 6. And then like obviously you could say like the MCU is a franchise, but then there's like franchises within that franchise with like Iron Man, Thor, Spider-Man. There's different things like that. You have like the Nolan Batman, the Raimi Spider-Man, the early 2000 X-Men movies. There's a lot of stuff there in regards to different franchises like Jaws, Back to the Future. There's a lot there. There's a lot to play around with when it comes to Franchise Wars, and that's why I think it's an interesting series to go through. Now, I did make it one video per week just because if we did one franchise per week, if we're doing something like Harry Potter, it wouldn't be feasible once again, like just time-wise and everything like that. And it would all like blend together. You sort of want some time to stretch out so you can sort of base them off their own individual things. So I think one video per week is the best thing to go. But I also do say there minimum 3 movies in a franchise, because if something's only got 2 movies, it's just a sequel. Like a franchise to me is like 3 movies or more. So yeah, I think that's and it also sort of slims off some movies as well that might have got crap sequels, because clearly the first one's going to be better. And I will be joined by a guest throughout each franchise, mainly for a consistency basis. I wouldn't want to have one person for the first movie, another person for the second movie, because there wouldn't be fair rankings. And then like once we get to the end, like how do you organize that ranking system? So having one person there is the easiest thing to do. And then once again, playing into one video per week allows that hopefully to play out properly in regards to people's personal times and watching the specific movies. And supporter involvement for this series is that you get to have your opinions on each installment, and they'll be read out at the beginning of next episode, depending on time. I'll just sort of do like a quick fire round in regards to people's opinions. And then once again, sort of like how we get to rank them at the end of the franchise, there'll be a poll at the end of each franchise that decides the best movie overall. So for Harry Potter, for example, I'm just using Harry Potter because that's the poster I used. You know, everyone might vote for Prisoner of Azkaban as the best movie, but maybe in the rankings, maybe the other person doesn't. I'd probably pick Prisoner of Azkaban off my memory of Harry Potter, but maybe my mind might be changed. And the fourth series is something that I sort of alluded to before in regards to, most of these series aren't affected by the outside stuff that's going on at the moment with the strike and news. This is one that would, and this is a weekly news podcast. Obviously, it'd be once a week. Obviously, and this would involve the biggest news across movie and TV for the week. Supporter involvement in this series would be questions from supporters, especially the higher tier supporters get question priority, but questions are open from everyone. It's just that if you're a supporter, it goes to the top, obviously, makes sense. And then some possible segments in the weekly podcast episodes is that there's like a news roundup. Makes sense. Maybe a movie review, like a quick fire style for the new movie of the week if we've seen it, or if one person's seen it, they can give their opinion on it, whatever it might be, just sort of depending on what the movie is, if it's something that I wouldn't do an individual video on. And there is also going to be a fun viewer giveaway competition throughout this series, but it's something I don't want to reveal until the actual podcast starts up. And I don't want to explain it here and then have to explain it there again, because it's got some different, details to it. So I'd rather just leave it till then. And also I want to touch up and iron out the details properly as well. Now, the last thing to talk about before we jump into the specific member tiers is some other bonus to supporters. So one of these, and this will vary on the different supporter ranks. So that's why the next bit, if you are interested, is an important thing to listen to. So the first thing is early access, as you'd expect. The early access will be like at minimum 3 days, could be 5 days, but at the very bare minimum, if you're a supporter, you get the early access to videos 3 days early. Also, longer and uncut versions of videos. So this includes the news podcast, because I forgot to mention it just then with the news podcast, but I don't think I'm going to upload the news podcast as a whole publicly. It'll just be for members. And then the stuff that goes into videos on YouTube will be like segments of the podcast, like news and stuff that's worth talking about, or a movie review, or whatever it is. But there will be like probably up to maybe a third or a half of the podcast that doesn't go public. It'll just be on the members side. So that goes into this like longer and uncut section. But like the best parts will go public, or at least the ones that I think are worth going public will. But yeah, if you remember, you get the entire podcast. Arrowverse by the episode will be once again like a longer version of that. These like Arrowverse by the episode and franchise wars will be edited down a bit just to be a bit more suitable for going on YouTube, like not being too long. But the uncut versions and the longer versions will be on the members side alongside the early access. So the early access version you get of Arrowverse by the episode or franchise wars is the longer uncut version, and then there'll be an edited version that goes on YouTube a handful of days later, like 3 to 4 days later. And then there will be some exclusive videos like supporter Q&As, and then some specific movie or TV reviews that I wouldn't make public or wouldn't be a part of the podcast. So for example, the Disney Plus show that's out, I did that before with the members section when I did it in the past, but then I just sort of wasn't in, like things happened personally that I had to sort of stop that in regards to time. So for example, whether like Loki, for example, that's coming up, that could be an exclusive TV review for the members side and everything like that. And then when I eventually get to see Blue Beetle, because it's coming out a month later in Australia, I can talk about that on the members side, because it'd be pointless uploading a video a month late anyway in regards to that. But now let's get into the actual specific member tier. So the first one is supporter. This is the base level. I'm going to make this the cheapest that you can in Australia. So whatever it is over there in your different country, that's what it is. But I'm going to make this the cheapest thing. And you get member badges and emoticons, which will be upgraded from what they were previously. So hopefully they look good. And this includes early access to the YouTube videos. So it's early access to videos that will go public. So, and of these series. So you'll get early access to Arrowverse by the episode. It won't be the longer uncut version, just be the edited version, but you get early access to that. And the same with DraftKings, the same with franchise wars and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what you get there. The next level is Vigilante. Now, this is where you get the Q&A priority that I was talking about in some of the other sections before. So pretty much you jump the queue with your question and answer, or your question for a Q&A, or like a comment for one of the series or whatever it might be. You get to partake in polls about content, which is like with the franchise wars and stuff like that, and any other polls that do go up. This is where you do get the longer uncut versions of the YouTube videos. So this is the one, this is probably the best one, I would say. Vigilante is probably the one that's probably the best one to have in regards to bang for your buck, if you want to put it, because you pretty much get most stuff here outside of some little things. And the next one is more like, for everything, but you get a good chunk of everything in this tier. The third tier is Speedstar. You might be wondering about the names. I just picked some names. I didn't want to call them tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, keep it boring. I want to add some flavor to it. Might be a bit cringe, but who cares? But anyway, third tier is Speedstar. You get all exclusive videos. This includes the supporter Q&As and those TV and movie reviews as well. So if you wanted anything in regards to like the Disney Plus stuff and other reviews that I wouldn't make public, this is a good tier as well. So either Vigilante or Speedstar are probably the two ones, or the two best ones to get, if I had to give my personal preference. The fourth tier is Spectre. This is the second final tier. And this is like you get shout out in content. So your name will appear on screen in all of the content, like whether it's down the bottom or just on screen as a whole. And you will be able to recommend movies for exclusive reviews / commentaries and all franchise wars. So you can recommend a franchise and again be pushed a bit higher in the list, in regards to what's next. So this is a pretty decent tier as well, but it is more of a premium one. And as per usual, you get all the previous tier perks as well. And the final tier is 100% a luxury tier. I don't expect anyone to put this here or to select this, but I thought I'll give the option there just in case someone wants to, but I don't expect anyone to do it. And the 5th tier is Prime. Now, Prime is you get a specific video request, one per month. You can say whatever the video is, and I will do it within reason. I'm not jumping in front of a truck. I'm not, I don't know, some weird, I'm not jumping in the ring with The Rock, nothing crazy like that, within reason. So it could be like a day in the life, I don't know, whatever it is, like a vlog or whatever it might be, or like a specific movie request or something, like you have to watch this movie, or maybe like a reaction, whatever it is. So some sort of specific video request, I'm open to it. So that's here. And you will get a verbal shout out in each podcast episode as well at the beginning, specifically the podcast one, just because that's the easiest one to have a specific section for it if needed. And then of course you do this includes all the previous tier perks as well. And as I say down there, it's a super premium perk only for those that really, really want to support, or just maybe make me watch and talk about something sort of weird. But yeah, that's just a very luxury perk there. I don't expect anyone to pick it. But it's just there if anyone is interested, but I don't expect it. But yeah, guys, that's it. So hopefully this explains the content well enough. If you do have any questions at all, feel free to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram if you want like a more instant response. Though if you do have, you can leave it in the comments and I'll try and get back to you there as well. But yeah, I've got some of this content already planned out. DraftKings will be early access tomorrow. So if you want to, sign up, you'll get that tomorrow. If not, it'll be later, like next week sometime, that you'll get the first episode of that publicly. And the content's going to start rolling out from there. And once we get like 2 weeks into it, there'll be like a proper schedule. Exactly when things are coming out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, starting this off. I spent time on it just because I wanted to make sure the series that I was doing was series that were going to be interesting to do. So yeah, and also if you have any recommendations for other content creators that you wouldn't mind seeing me do videos with in regards to some of this content, feel free to hit me up. Some of it I will do by myself just because I want to add some just me when suitable, but it's also going to be very collaborative at the same time because a lot of it will still go public at the same time as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram with any other opinions. You do just have to click the join emblem underneath this video on my channel to see all the different options. And yeah, if you have any just feedback, let me know as well. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next video, guys. Goodbye.